And welcome back to Praggers Gaming. I'm Gamer Praggers, and this is Citizen Sleeper. And in the last episode, we were helping out the Flotilla in various ways. We spoke to who did we speak to? Peake in the with the dust houses, so we need to help them with that. We also need to help with the docking axis, and we're still waiting on Peake, who's investigating the Flux. So what we're gonna work on. Let's work on the singers. Yeah, Ember's song, and we'll help them out. Okay. So that's nearly done. We also do we risk it? We'll risk it. Okay. That's okay, because what we'll do is we'll come down here, we'll get some energy by bartering for food. And then we'll improve our condition and end the cycle. Okay. Get some energy back by sunbathing. And we go back to Ember's song. There we go. Sleeper. Peter calls you as you cross the axis. He's standing by the same railings you saw him last time, and he beckons you over. I've been hearing things. He gives you a sidelong look. Peter smiles. Don't be so nervous. He rubs his hand together nervously. You wait for him to speak. You know, on song, I was a teacher. He glances at you, anticipating a response. Really? Don't sound so surprised. Mechanical engineering. It's an essential subject on a moon where a single mechanical failure could mean the death of hundreds. He looks at the ground. The heat, the atmosphere, the radiation, all of it is hostile to us. My students knew this. Their work, their training was respected. As long as they were careful and respected song themselves, they could have the choice of colony placements. They were always in demand. That meant I was respected, surrounded by friends and colleagues, always able to call in favors and repay them like for like. He frowns. Song colonies are small, close-knit. We look after our own. When the Flux events started hitting, colonies went dark overnight. We all knew what those kinds of failures meant. Like always, we lost more people than any of the other moons. He balls his hands into tight fists. Not a single one of my students left song. Our future was cut off, just like that. My future. He flexes his hands. What am I out here? What use am I? Song is a fading memory, and the systems we built there are useless outside its orbit. How am I supposed to move on from here? He looks at you, eyes steely grey and glinting. Find someone to teach. Peter pauses, thinking. You don't give up, do you, Sleeper? You just keep going. Peter shakes his head. You remind me of a student of mine, one who entered the program from one of the smaller colonies. They didn't have the advantages of some of the others, but they were stubborn. Stubborn as hell. By the end of the program, they were the most skilled of their peers. They didn't get the best assignment, maybe because they didn't spend much time making that kind of connections that would help you get there. But that didn't matter, because I knew they would make the best of anything they set themselves to do. Peter is smiling now, buoyed up a little by memory. Singers are stubborn, Sleeper. We aren't going to change easily. We won't forgive easily, or take help easily. But we'll hold strong. You can count on us for that. Peter stands from the railing. When you see Saul again, you can tell him that. You can tell him how the crews of Ember Song operate. Tell him we will resist. If that means resisting Hearth's imperialist ambitions, so be it. If it means resisting the Flux, so be it. And if it means too, as you have, to help others resist those same pressures, so be it. Peter then smiles, and then tell him to leave us alone. He turns, his step lighter, and heads off toward the center of the Axis hub. Okay. So, we now have one. Good news. Right, let's go and help Aki at the dust houses now. Oh, nice. Okay, we're halfway there. Right, how are we doing for scrap? Because we need to repair. Right. Let's pop that in. Now give us some more energy back. Yeah, we'll put the 6 in. Okay. Let's speak to Peake. Have you ever heard of can channel, Sleeper? Peake asks as soon as you enter the bay, as if you were in the middle of a conversation. There are heavy circles under his eyes, and you aren't sure if they've moved since you last visited. The console they're working at seems to have grown too, shadowing their slight frame in a wealth of screens and wires. Can? You mean for transit? Yes, exactly. Peake turns to face you. Kiomani's active negation, the name of the effect used to transport trillions of tons of materials from the surrogate systems to the core. You might have heard of it in your physics classes. At XPR, they hammered the principles into us as kids. Ken. Peake recites the definition as if in the classroom. A process of collapsing spatial causality along the Euclidean distance between 2 points by negating mass simultaneously at both ends of a geodesic curve. Essentially, can channels allow for the near instantaneous transports of raw materials between systems. They require huge volumes of energy, of course, and decades of construction, but once a can channel is established, it opens up a system for infinite exploitation. The backbone of surrogacy is what XPR called them. Peake shakes their head. They might not be able to send anything more complex than a rock through them. Complex machines and people are, shall we say, reconfigured by the process. But for raw molecular pure materials? Peake flicks a hand. Whoosh! Where's this going? Peake pauses. What I was trying to find out was whether the Helion system, this system, ever had a can channel. Can channels are vastly expensive to build, to run. Not every surrogate system has one. Many use fraction drive ships to transport their materials to the nearest hub. But Solheim? Peake smiles. Solheim spared no expense when they established this system. There's a can channel? Yep. Peake's eyes light up. They shut it down before the collapse. They couldn't run the sender-receiver station anymore. But it was there. It still is, as far as I can tell, closely orbiting our star. In fact, Peake grins, they've been building to this. I'm sure it's still there, because one of the issues with can channels are the massive waves of exotic energy they can produce when cycling up. The flux. Exactly. Peake's face suddenly drops. Someone is starting up the channel. Why? Peake looks in a breath. That I don't know. They start counting off information on their fingers. They'd need a lot of resources to do it, and they'd need to have people from the core systems. But there's no real large-scale extraction in the Helion system anymore, so why would you go to the trouble? Just to trigger the flux. Peake rubs their red eyes. The flux, the wave the can effect produces, it's a side effect, a problematic one, but it isn't a destructive force. If it was, the core systems would have never been able to use it. So then why are colonies collapsing because of it? Why is it chewing through systems, the kind of industrial system set up to function within the range of a once active can channel? Peake is getting frustrated. The moons of Ember have been terraforming since before the collapse. They would have had to deal with the flux. Yet everything we have heard from the refugees say it's brought down every system they had. Peake falls quiet, thinking it all through. Your mind drifts too, thinking of the can channels, those vast A-causal highways that prop up the core systems and their endless appetite for resources. This system has been quiet for decades. Solheim collapsed, most corporations gave up their claims, and apart from the Celius ships that came to work on the sidereal horizon, no one from the core has come here in all that time. You shiver as you imagine the intention of the core. The systems of logic and exploitation that created your suffering, turning towards the Helion system. A floodlight turned to this dark corner. A shrill bleep catches both of your attention and Peake rushes to a screen. One showing a crude map of the station. On it, individual markers begin to flare up with insistent chirps. Peake looks puzzled for a moment, and then their face drops. No, no, no. They lean in close. This doesn't make any sense. What's happening? The flux nodes are appearing elsewhere on the station. Peake pulls at their hair. I set this system to alert me to other flux nodes near the epicenter of the flux event. But these are everywhere. The hub, the low end, the shipyard. How can this happen? The only reason we saw flux node here is because it was the most run-down part of the station. They were barely shielded. But others appearing? So far after the event? Peake turns to you. You're going to need to get me the data from these nodes, and quickly. I'll keep looking at what I have here, but I need to know why they are popping up everywhere. Right now? Right now. We can talk more about can channels and system history when you're back, but this needs our attention right now. Peake turns quickly back to their monitor, their eyes following scrolling screens of code spewing from the newly fluxed nodes. You leave quickly but struggle to shake the image of the spotlight from your mind. You feel watched as you cross back into the Pilgrim Seed on your way to the shuttle bay. You hurry onward, eager to outrun the fear. Ooh. Okay. That's the green way. Flux node. Yeah, I can't do it with. So there's one there. Flux node there. Right, we'll just double check. Okay, 3 nodes. Flux node. Oh, we got 4. We can grab that one. That's 1 down. Okay. That was a 5 or a 6. That was a 5 or a 6. Okay. Right then. Right, let's use what we can. Right. End the cycle. Let's see what dice we've got. Right, we're immediately going to put the 2 in here. Right. And then we're going to come down here. Because those 2 5s can help us. What was that just popped up? There's a Havenage agent. Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay, so one more cycle. Maybe we'll pop back and we'll grab the salvage. Because we can grab 3 things. Right, we'll hand these back to Peake and see what we find out. You watch as Peake works on the Flux data, the nodes unfolding like flowers now, giving in to Peake's increasingly sophisticated decoding protocols. Seeing data like this as an image on a screen is an almost unrecognisable representation to you. It is nothing like swimming among nodes and threads. Despite this, Peake has proven themselves to be more than able to handle these complex data structures, even though this limited representational paradigm. The bay door hisses, interrupting your flow of thoughts. You turn to see Ash entering. Ash! She looks up and meets your eye, but doesn't respond. Ash stalks into the bay, head down. She looks tired and not in a mood to talk. How's the weapon hunt? Peake asks without turning from their screen. Slow, unsuccessful, tedious. Ash slams a bag down on a crate and hops up to sit on it. You still unpicking balls of yarn? With the sleeper's help, Peake smiles. They brought me some good stuff this cycle. Maybe they could help you find the weapons you were smuggling. It's clear that Ash doesn't appreciate Peake's tone. Don't Havenage have them? Yep, Ash replies. At least until I find where they're keeping them. Ash, Peake cuts in without looking away from the console. That's not a good idea. This is my mistake, Peake, and I'll fix it how I want. Ash folds her arms. Havenage just lost the quadrant. Equipping them with weapons is not something I want to have been responsible for. Peake holds up her hand. Shh. They lean in towards the screen. Son of a... Oh no. They hid it in the wake of the wave. Peake is whispering to themselves. It's alive. They lean back in their chair. Ash crosses over to look at the screen. Alive? Well, it's growing. It's processing. It's quietly working away in the dark. Look. You cross over to the screen and stand beside Ash. In it, you can see that Peake has all 4 nodes decoded, and the pattern of shadows from inside them sit on the screen like dark stains. Then you notice it, the movement, the thin thread cross from one stain to another. As you watch, you notice that the movement only ever happens in your peripheral vision, as if this thing, this shadow, knows it's being watched. This is how the other Flux nodes appeared. Peake rubs their eyes. They weren't fluxed by the wave, they were corrupted after the fact. This thing, this shadow that entered in the wave of the wave, it corrupted them, but it made the corruption look like the result of the flux. It's a sleight of hand. Peake runs a hand through their hair. The flux wave is so massive, so complex, that it opens up the systems to be attacked, as it reconfigures exposed systems. This shadow is broadcast implanted inside. The wave from the can channel, it is a brute force way of hitting every system in Helion once the systems are vulnerable. Peake looks pale, their eyes reflect the screens. The flux isn't what is attacking the systems. It is the siege weapon, a Trojan horse, then this thing takes over. Peake sits back in their chair. And it's already on the eye. Wait. Ash rubs her forehead. You telling me there's a can channel in this system? Shit. Peake isn't listening. This is bad. We have to take this to someone. Peake looks desperate at you. Erlin? Is that wise? Esh cuts in. Havenage haven't exactly made good decisions lately. They are the station administrators, Esh. Peake is desperate. They need to know. The argument rages between them, and as you watch them shouting, you feel sick. After a while, they stop, running out of things to say. An unsettling silence descends on the bay. I need more time, Peake says quietly. I need to look at solutions, try to build a case, collate the evidence. We messed this up? They look down at their hands. Esh goes to speak and then thinks better of it. Not a word, Sleeper. Peake meets your eye. Don't tell anyone until they are ready. They sigh. With the tension among the refugees, Sol won't be ready to hear this, and Helene and Havenage are still mired in some kind of crisis. We tell Havenage, they are likely to react badly, and if we tell Sol, I doubt he'll take it well either. If you can calm the situation in the Flotilla, then we can choose. You are too twisted up in this, Peake, Esh says quietly. This is not our place. We don't owe... Stop, Esh. Peake slumps in their chair. Stop. You leave them like that, exhausted and troubled, and head back out into the Pilgrim Seed. When you close your eyes, you think of those shadows, that movement at the edge of your vision, something dark growing in the station, like a parasite. You feel sick. Your vision blurs. What comes next? You stop in a corridor and take a breath, putting a hand on a rumbling metal wall. For now, the eye keeps spinning. For now. Ooh. Very nice. Okay. Grab that, which is a 6. And if we put that one in, that should complete the dust houses. Yes, it does. And we can speak to Aki. You and Aki stand side by side at the viewing window in silence. The dust swirls around you. As the dust swirls and you glimpse the twisted root systems of the steppe silk through the ochre haze. After all these cycles, you feel a strange connection to a world on which you have never set foot. Aki shifts from foot to foot. She seems restless, eager to speak, but unsure of what to say. We did it. Aki smiles at you warmly. We did. She pauses and turns back to the window. What is the value of all this? She asks suddenly. Of preserving a world we have left behind. History. Aki's silent for a moment. But history is dead. It is a dead thing. These plants, these ecosystems, they still live. They are no more history than you or I, she pauses. As long as we keep living, we are more than just history. Aki paces away, lost in thought. I'm grateful to you for helping protect the dust houses, for ensuring their slide into decay is delayed, even averted. But now I find myself at an impasse. The stability of the dust houses changes things. It makes me aware of how blinkered we have been. Aki stops to look at you, her posture somehow different. If the ecosystems of steppe, if its people cannot grow to meet the future, why preserve it? She frowns. Are we just slaves to the preservation of what came before? Not slaves, inheritors. Aki nods, but the weight of this inheritance is heavy. Aki comes close, holds your hands in hers. We must change. We must change to live, she smiles. I have seen that in you. The steppe, these people, this ship, should serve more than heritage, than history. They should serve the future. She takes a breath. There are those in the flotilla that need clothes, that need food, that can benefit from the gifts of the steppe's ecosystem. I want you to invite them. Can you do that for me? Of course. I know that Sol sent you, she smiles. You can tell him Aki, captain of the Wind's Long Shadow, invites all the people of the flotilla to come. I will. She nods. Aki steps away. You want to know about the Flux, no? About its purpose, its origins? You wish to protect your home as we could not? I'm afraid I don't have much to tell you. It is an exotic wave of sorts, an energy that passes through matter. It shifts the very charged particles that run through our electrical systems. It is possible to shield against it, as you would radiation, as we have done with the dust houses, but only while it is weak. The flux event here was much like the first ones we felt on Ember's steppe, localized, destructive, but bearable. But in times, its strength grew. I don't know if it will be the same here, but... She pauses. It is coming from the center of the system, from the close orbit of Helion star H1. That is all we could uncover. She is silent for a moment, unsure of what to add. I'm sorry I cannot offer more, but you are always welcome on this ship. She smiles. I hope I will see you when the others come. She squeezes both your hands. I hope this ship, these dust houses, can be more than a museum. I hope they can be our home. With this, she turns and leaves, and you feel that word, home, resonating within you like a stuck bell. Okay. So that's 2 of 3. We'll pop the mushrooms in, because we've got spares. Okay. We're nearly done with helping the flotilla. So we're going to end the cycle. We need to go get some scrap. We are starving. Right, let's put the 2 in. That is endure, isn't it? But I don't think we're going to get enough. But I suppose we can always buy food. Okay. What else did we need to do? Oh, scrap. We were going to speak to... Yes. Cross over here. There we go. Buy a lot of scrap. That's not what we want. Okay. Havenage offices. Oh yeah, we'll put that in. 30 cryo. Okay. Right, so we've got 2. Everyone up there is happy. So if we go to the Pilgrim Seed, we'll add that. And we'll do that. And that should do it. There we go. Sol finds you deep in the layers of the Pilgrim Seed, working on a patch for a life support vent. You hear him coming, his suit hissing as he does. I had to ask around to find you, he smiles. Seems you know the place better than me these days. I've put in the time, and we thank you for it. Sol holds out a hand. Stand up, and let me see you. He pulls you to your feet. I don't believe we ever had a sleeper on Ember's hearth. Sol looks you up and down. You sure do make me wish we had. Could have done with a few workers as good as you. Thank you. Sol nods. You're welcome. Seems like I owe you some answers, seeing as you've been working hard on the Pilgrim Seed these past cycles. He leans against a crate, his suit creaking. What do you want to know about? Ember's hearth. Sure, he smiles. I mean, I spent my whole life on that rock, so I have plenty to tell. I'll save my life story for another time, he winks. But the short of it is that Hearth is the first of Ember's moons, the biggest and the most populated, which is down to the successful terraforming systems Cybele set up back when Solheim owned the system. How are relations with the other moons? Depends who you've been talking to. You shouldn't mistake me for a politician, Sleeper. That's for others to do. He gives you a look. But Ember's Step was a test ground for the terraforming tech that Hearth is built on, while Ember's Song was the extraction site for the raw materials and energy needed to make it work. You can imagine that might lead to some tension. However, Sol holds up a hand. Despite what people may say, Hearth was never fully stable. Sol shakes his head. Cybele liked to talk it up, but after they pulled out and Solheim left, our people discovered they'd have to keep the systems running themselves, or the place would soon end up as dry as Steppe. Hearth was good as long as the evaporators kept running, kept filling our skies with clouds. Even after the collapse, our people kept those things going, turning that subsurface ocean into a periwinkle blue sky. Sol smiles. Flux ended that though, and when they failed, the rains failed, and the harvest with it. Sol pauses. And soon you have a city without a way to feed itself. Sol shudders. That's when some of us, made the decision to set out on to this place. He gestures at the pilgrim seat, and look for another future. Sol shifts on the crate. Anything else you wanted to ask? There was something. Sol nods. What you? Sol squints at you. You want to know about me? I'm not sure that was part of the deal. I was thinking of Sleeper. Unless you were asking about this. He raps on the metal suit of his. In case you haven't guessed, this is the only thing keeping me vertical. He adjusts a shoulder piece. It's a lifter suit, made for work in the fields. We had to modify it so I could walk around after the accident. And that's all I'm saying, Sleeper, because to be honest with you, I don't owe you more than that. You want to know about the Flux? About Ember's Hearth? Go ahead, but don't pry into my life, and I won't pry into yours. Sol lets the silence sit, staring hard at the floor. The suit seems to loom over him, looking more like a burden than a support. With the bars around his head, you suddenly start to think of it as a cage. Look, I don't mean to be rude. Let's leave it there. There's too many eyes on me on this ship as it is, and I'd rather just slip into the background. Thank you very much. Sol shifts on the crate. Anything else you wanted to ask? The Flux. That's what I imagined. He scratches his beard. I can't say I'm an expert, but I can tell you what we witnessed on Hearth. At first we ignored it. A few farms had their automation systems blink out, lifter suits locked up, bots reset their schedules, nothing we hadn't seen before. But then the news came out of Pasareo that they'd been hit harder. The local network had gone down, and no one could get it back up. It was rough for a while, but out in the farmland we were used to that. Capital of Hearth. Tens of thousands of souls made it their home. Sol grimaces. Anyway, we thought the Flux was a freak event until the day they got the network running again. That's when the cascade happened. System after system corrupted, data lost, and then another Flux hit, and another. The bots were running circles in the fields. People had to be cut out of their lifter suits like mine. In the city, I never saw it, but I heard from the others. Sol shivers. It only got worse from there. We couldn't seem to fight it. It cut us right open. That's what I know about the Flux. Some folks say it came from the inner system, that it might be connected to some old tech there or something. But I've never heard anything more than the rumors. Skull scratches their beard. Sorry, I don't have better news. Sol shifts on the crate. Anything else you wanted to ask? I'm good for now. You sure? I'm sure. Sol stands, flexing the suit. He takes his cane in his hand. Keep it up, Sleeper. He smiles as he leaves. You're making me think I need to start making new plans for this place. And with that, Sol leaves, and you wonder what he means as he creaks away down the corridor, and you can't help but feel there's more to him than it seems. Okay. Well, we helped the Flotilla, and fingers crossed, in the next episode we will be reuniting the Flotilla as a one entity. But that will be in the next episode. Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you're looking forward to Citizen Sleeper 2. In the description is a link to the channel Discord. Feel free to come and talk about the games you're playing, the games I'm playing, games in general. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.